Um, previously, many weeks ago, let's go back to the map real quick here.
We got put into the future because we went through the Feywild. Everything is shit. We decided that our best leads were to go north. We stopped in Blackhold. Was that it?
You're going towards Blackhold. You stopped in Shoreham, which was a ghost town.
Mm-hmm.
You were making your way towards Blackhold because that is home to various, well, there's a Temple of Iyun that you were going to, but there are numerous ones scattered about, and actually you came across one outside of Blackhold that was covered in the same glowing mushrooms that had appeared in Shoreham. Callum was aware that these particular mushrooms, though not in any way verified as truth necessarily, they are rumored to be. There's folk tales of them appearing amongst the dead or undead. So at the very least, they are a bad omen. Whether they are truly connected is a different story. But on your way again, leaving Shoreham, on your way towards Blackhold, you came across a temple that was covered in these mushrooms. Ragna did her little divine sense, determined that there were many undead about. You investigated, you killed a giant skeleton, you killed some cultists, you killed some ghasts, you eventually
Killed a
killed
Death Knight.
a Death Knight. And that's actually where we stopped, was the Death Knight death. So you are currently out of combat, so I put the combat music on prematurely.
Matt, real quick. I remember something running away. It just ran up here and we caught it, right? There's nothing that got away?
Correct.
Okay. I just remembered something leaving or trying to and then chasing after it.
It's one of the cultists that was trying to run away.
Okay.
Who is dead, but I removed his body because he was in the way up here, so...
So we're out of combat right now?
Yes.
Can I search the bodies to see if there's any specific religious symbolage or anything?
Yes.
Um,
Can I
that
search the bodies for other weapons?
Regna's gonna take a seat and kind of take a deep breath.
Yeah, you can search for weapons as well. I can actually just tell you without... You don't have to roll for that search. You find some daggers on the cultists, but the undead that you killed didn't have weapons. The Death Knight has a long sword and a shield. A +1 shield.
I'll take it.
You have a +1 shield. And you can also have a longsword if you'd like. It's not a +1, it's just a regular longsword.
Always helps to have a backup.
Yeah,
Everyone's all right.
A bit exhausted, but that's okay.
well, we should burn the dead.
Well, Ragnar, can you tell if there are any more dead around? Or was that it?
Let me see. And she's going to, from her seated position, open up her senses.
You just cast that. Oh, I didn't realize that it was based on your charisma modifier. Nice.
Yeah.
Within 60 feet, right?
Yeah.
Within 60 feet and not behind total cover. So it can't like sense them through walls or anything like that.
Yeah. So from where you are seated, you cannot.
Okay. She, how long does it show? Okay. She just sighs and says, I can't really sense anything from where I am, but if we go deeper, I can try once more.
That's my worry about starting to burn these. It will draw attention. If we're not leaving here, I would rather wait till we are to start a fire.
If we're
Agreed.
lingering around, I think I'd actually want to burn them. That way we don't have a blocked retreat.
Plus,
Better a
if the
blocked retreat than a retreat that we can't pass through with flames.
Agreed.
I don't need to use regular flames if that's what you're worried about.
If you could get rid of the remains without actually setting a fire, I'm all for it. I just want to have a escape route.
Gross will start heading towards the bodies and start casting Sacred Flame.
And yeah, was I able to find anything, Matt, for religion?
Were you looking around the room, or are you looking for?
I was looking
around the
mostly
bodies?
on the bodies. Like if they had any, like you said, because the cultists, I imagine, having like a medallion or something. So just figured I'd try.
They would the cultists themselves would have symbols of Nerul.
I would. Would I even recognize that? Well, I mean, we've talked about it enough. I probably would. So
Yeah,
I would immediately call over to Callum and just, well, looks like these are the people that follow Nerul.
Yes, that was my assumption, but it's good to have it confirmed. Means we don't have to hold back here at all. As much as it's tempting to continue to the north where that thing came from, that passage off to the west actually seems more circuitous, possibly a good exploration to avoid getting surrounded.
Oh, well, I've always been someone who doesn't like to leave things that can sneak up behind them, so I'll just poke my head in, give a quick look around. If there's nothing within the immediate area, I agree. We'll go your way.
I can do a perception check, I guess.
Yeah, I'll try to sneak in here and just poke my head around the corner.
Hey, before I get too greedy, this shield looks way more durable than your average shield. Does anyone else need one?
I personally feel that it would be slow me down more than it would actually help me.
Fair enough. Sis?
Well, I mean, it could be useful, but I don't want you to be without protection as well.
You see these muscles? They're all the protection I need.
Ragnar just smiles and says, I do have my own armor and shield. It's just, I guess the shield's not as strong as that one, but I think it's okay.
Signe, you typically use a two-handed weapon, don't you?
Oh yeah, that's why I'm offering.
All right.
I guess if you don't want to use it.
Well, I feel like it's only fair since you gave me one of your swords.
Oh, that's all right. I've got Snickersty now. Yeah, she's not going to use any other weapon but me anymore.
But it doesn't mean she couldn't use a better shield.
Yeah.
We need a talking shield next.
Here, take it.
Thanks. Thanks, Signe. Did you want my old shield?
Ah, nah, just put it in your pocket.
You can fit a shield in your pockets?
Oh, I was just going to leave it on the floor. Signe's more specialty at putting things in her pockets.
You used to have
Thinking a
better
minute,
holding.
she'll just figure out a way to strap it on her back and just keep going because she's not going to leave it behind.
Okay. Did you want to do anything else in this room?
Yeah, I was just peeking around to see if I could see any movement or anything that looks like it needs our immediate attention in here.
You do not.
Okay. And yeah, I'll just walk in, walk back out, and says, "Well, there's some desks and papers in there, so perhaps it'll be worth a look on the way out. But I didn't see any movement, so shouldn't be anything coming up behind us."
Any passages continuing through from there?
I didn't go in too deep. I didn't want to, get sidetracked. But I could go give a
Fair.
look.
No, as long as there's none readily apparent, I'm happy to come back on our way. We know there's a passage back this way, at least.
All right. Well, let's go. Is
Ragnar
everyone
will
else
get up
feeling
and
okay?
Ragnar gets up with a bit of a stumble, but just pats herself off and keeps walking.
I am personally doing fine.
I
Though,
mean,
if people need a breather, we could certainly manage one.
I wouldn't be opposed. I'm feeling roughly a 30 out of 110%.
And, the only issue is if we feel comfortable enough waiting around here to patch people up.
Well,
I certainly
that
can do a bit, but it would
we could go back in that
greatly
room.
reduce my usefulness.
We could go back in the room where the Death Knight came from, or where that thing came from, and close the door, barricade ourselves in for a bit of safety.
See
This
if
is
there's a passage through. I suppose that makes sense.
Hmm? Oh, Griswold. Oh, there are stairs going up. Or wait, Matt, is that up or down? I can't tell on this.
They are up.
Okay.
It's not a full flight of stairs. There's stairs that go up, and to what you can see, it spans the entire uh, hall there. Essentially, the top of the stairs. You can see that there is what indicates a door, and then you
Okay.
can see that but there isn't a. There's not like a wooden door there. There's actually like, um, it kind of looks like it's bricked up, but not fully. It looks like there is a brick wall there that could potentially move because it doesn't
Okay.
look like they didn't fill in the gaps. It doesn't look like the bricks there were put up to seal this room off, essentially, if that makes sense.
All right. Well, yeah. Griswold will sit down on the table and just relax for a while, and I will roll hit die.
Who is looking the most injured if we're going to take a short rest?
Ragnar, I think, is the most injured. She's at 15% of 76.
Oh, you don't have great health anyway. I have better
It's
health than
kind of a
you,
running theme for
somehow.
Tara to have the lowest hit points of
Yeah.
no matter which class she's playing, she'll have the lowest hit points.
Yeah.
In that case, well, how many do I have?
I use
I
5 hit die. I'm back up to full. No.
Ragna, Signe, before you guys roll yours, I'm going to give you each 3 of my hands of healing. So, let's do Ragna first.
No, I'll be good, Callum. I'll just rub some dirt in it.
Thank you.
So that's 12, 21, and then he's going to completely ignore Signe's protests and do it to Signe anyway. 22 for Signe.
Well, shucks. Thank you.
And Ragna lost max hit points, didn't she?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
that's
usually
why
at
she's got so
18.
little.
Not much higher.
Yeah, it's not much higher. Right now, I think you have the identical hit points to Griswold with your lowered.
Yeah, I have 76 total.
Yep, they're identical. I'm
Take a
amazing
short
at rolling
rest.
HP.
So I'm just sat here, didn't take any damage, and still at 126.
Yeah, you have the most hit points of anybody. So is there anything that you want to do aside from just recuperate?
I'm actually going to be able to arcane recovery at level. It's
Half
two
your
levels.
wizard level
So
rounded
one
up.
level. One level or one level one spell. Hot ticket. While we're in here, Matt, and resting, can I ritually cast detect magic?
Yeah.
All right. I will do that. I'm assuming I'm going to see a bunch of it from the mushrooms and stuff. But
Yeah, they are. It's not like when you did it before. It was blinding when you were outside. There's not quite as much. These are a bit smaller, but yeah, that's all that you see here currently that is magical. And it's overall I'm not the best to describe it. The magic that they're emitting is bright, but still not particularly like it's not a very strong magic. If I guess if that makes any sense.
yeah, that's all. I mean, I would maybe like just thumb through the book real quick, not really giving a shit, but just looking to see if there's anything that pops out of a page to me.
In the room that you're in right now, most of the books appear to be related to history.
Mm-hmm.
Since Callum has used all his key points, he is, big air quotes, meditating off in a corner while people are doing other short rest things.
I will say that it looks like the temple that you're in. You don't need perception rolls or anything for this. Appears to be pretty old. But you can see that a lot of the damage that has been caused does appear to be somewhat recent. And it would appear that the mushrooms are not. It's not like they've been here a very long time either.
Okay. All right. Well, we do now have two possible directions to go. Would you like to go up these stairs or back with your original path?
I'd say
Um,
make sure there's no ambush first.
I would say anything that is up from here certainly can't get reinforcements, but down from here is another story. I say we check this floor first.
that sounds fine to me.
And as we're walking, Griswold is going to just look over his shoulder and just say, "All right, everyone, best to be quiet." And he's going to try to be stealthy.
Ragna looked very stealthy.
Callum will at least try to be stealthy. There it is.
One thing as you're doing that, whether it's the mushrooms or whatever, one of the things that you notice in this temple is that the sound in here seems to be pretty muted. So even like when you're you know making steps on the floor or stepping over some rubble or whatever, things that you would expect to make some noise doesn't really make a whole lot of sound. um, it doesn't really feel um, like magical or anything like that. Like there's something that's purposely making it quiet in here. You just get the impression that the architecture of this place, the walls appear to be very, very thick. There's a lot of stuff. There's these pillars. There's these books. So there's a lot of things that absorb sound. But it is somewhat surprising how quiet it actually is in here.
Even with our voices, like when we talk.
Yeah, I mean, so there's your voices don't carry very far,
Hmm.
Which is good for a library, I suppose. Which is kind of what a lot of the Temple of Ioun are like, is very library-esque. So this is kind of a weird. These stairs, the the both of these sets of stairs are going up. So you're going up, and then there's a landing, and then the stairs continue to go up.
Okay. Is there anything on this first landing?
There's books here.
Okay.
There's a bookshelf inlaid into the wall behind the mushroom.
All right.
And
Well, if
then
there's
there's
one thing Griswold knows from sneaking around rich people's houses and stuff, is that sometimes these type of things hide secret passages. So I'm gonna go and look at all this stuff.
well, these are doors right here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh.
Well, there's a door.
Traps are locked. I'll check.
And I'll say part of Ragna's nat 1 on her stealth is Nickersney just chattering as her armor is also knocking about.
Mostly covered by you and Signe were loud, but everybody else was pretty quiet. So
In typical
Also-
fashion, Signe welcomes the fight.
the door does appear to be locked. It does appear to be a again a very heavy oak door that likely would absorb quite a bit of sound. Not trapped. That you
Okay.
can, so
I will attempt to unlock it.
yeah, I feel like at this point you don't even need to roll for it. Your thieves tools are so high, they just be like, I'm just gonna unlock that now.
I mean, you always roll in that one.
That's true. What is
I
it?
can
What is
break my
what's the,
thieves' tools.
what's the
Now you
lowest?
can't. You have
what's the-
reliable talent, don't you?
Oh wait, yeah, I do. Wait, no,
What-
I don't yet. I think that's one more level, right? That's level 9 for rogue.
Oh right, because you multi-classed. I think
Yeah.
it's level 10,
Okay.
but
What is the lowest
no,
you can
10's a
roll?
feat. Maybe it's 11.
19.
Yeah. So I mean, like if you roll in that one, I mean you rolled it. I mean, yeah. Even on a nat 1 and a 19 is hard to be like, yeah, you totally screwed everything up.
So once it is unlocked, I'll be like, well, if I've learned something in this place, it's that I don't want to be the first through a door, and I'll just back up.
I'll do it. And Ragna will open some door.
All right, everybody roll initiative.
Yay.
At least I got out of the way.
Ragna's very in the way.
Don't worry,
Oh, that was a sad initiative from Callum.
I can't even see what's in the room.
No, me neither yet. I see a table with 2 cracks on it. That's it.
You'll recognize the things when they pop up. Well, that took forever. You guys rolled forever ago, and it just popped up.
Mhm.
For you.
Same.
All right. Let me double check something real quick. So as soon as you open the door, Ragnar, you hear this sort of like guttural sort of scream.
Snickersney
Like a-
lets out a whoop, very excited.
Oh, yay.
All right, Signe, let's go.
Well, she's gonna bowl her way through. And go for this one. just gonna reread the stuff. I forgot what I can do as a barbarian.
I mean, raging seems like a good idea, but
Yeah.
you only have
Yes,
so many
bonus
of those a
action
day.
rage. Yes, please.
An 18 does not hit that. It is
That's not going to
small
either.
and nimble. So yes, you swing and it dodges left to right. And when you come in, it's this thing that's sort of like still sort of emanating this sound. So the screech came from this thing.
All right. Well, I guess it's someone else's turn now.
Yeah, it's the creature's turn. Let's see. All right, it's actually, as you run in and started swinging, it's going to just reach over and grab a hold of your arm. I would need you to make a Constitution saving throw, if you would, please.
And you're too far away from Regna.
So you take 11 points of cold damage. And I believe this happened to you last time we played. You are paralyzed.
Wait a minute. Don't I have a thing on this character about that?
Paralyzed? You have a thing that's each time you rage, you can reroll one save.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yes, I believe you did break it the last time, I think. So you can re-roll that, I guess. It's an 18 you have to beat. There you go. You are not paralyzed, but you take 11 points of cold damage.
Fair enough.
And then it will just attack you again, just with a regular swing here. What's your AC? It's 16. Okay, so then you take another additional 11 points of cold damage, so 22 total. But you don't need to make a con save. Alrighty. Well, this is actually bad for Signe. She ran in there and everybody else's initiative rolls were crap.
Mm-hmm.
Just itching for a fight a bit too much.
All right. Well, it's this thing that you had tried to attack earlier. It is that creature's turn. And it will open up its mouth and release this terrible howling sound. And also, this would affect... I'm going to say it probably doesn't affect Griswold, but it does affect Ragna. So the two of you need to make Constitution saving throws.
Me as well?
Yes, you.
Okay, just double checking.
Yes. You are at 0 hit points.
Oh, goddamn.
Yep.
And it is Griswold's turn.
Ragna will just yell out Signe's down. So I'm pretty sure she can see the best in the room right now.
Yes.
So that's 1. Okay. Fuck. All right, so moving through Ragnar would be double movement, right? So that's 5 to move from where
I
I
think
am.
you can. It's kind of double doors. I think you could get around her over
Okay.
here. side.
Okay, so I was starting here, so 5, 10, 15. Oh, fuck.
So just
Alright.
don't fully block that door so that
Yeah.
Callum can go pick up Signate.
Is there anything that, like, because I couldn't see what happened, is there anything that clearly is pointing toward, like, this is what really messed her up? I heard the screech, but can I tell, like, where it came from?
I would say no. You would not be familiar enough with the creature itself.
Alright.
But you, as a player, would probably remember this creature because
Yes.
you bashed somebody's head in with one.
Yes, I killed the necromancer with one. Alright. Let me see what this is real quick. Oh, yeah. It's a 10-foot radius sphere. Can I get that 10-foot, like, without hitting her? Like, a 10-foot like that? Or, like, even if I
Maybe
gotta
if you
put it down here?
maybe you put it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't. I mean, you get to center at a point that you get to pick. So
So yeah, I'm gonna try to get it to hit those 3. Well, leaving. Oh, I just deleted my token by accident. Okay. All right, yeah. So I'm gonna try to get it to hit those 3, and leaving Signe out of it. And it is a DC 12 con save for them, which I'm sure they'll make, but we'll see.
they all fail. I rolled a 6, a 9, and a 7.
Okay. Then they will all take 9 points of damage. It's force damage. I don't know if any of them have resistance to it. And their speed is halved until the end of their next turn. So that's my action. In my bonus action, I will keep going this way and do my best to hide, which I'm sure won't work, but we'll try anyway. Stealth, stealth, stealth.
Alrighty. Oh wait. Can you roll initiative again?
Yeah.
Because you're out. Since
Oh,
you're
yeah. Oh, just gotta take 10 away from it.
Alrighty. This one is just going to clamber up to Ragna. And it is going to just try and pummel you. It's going to miss with the first one, but hits on the second one. You would take 9 points of bludgeoning damage and 6 points of necrotic. And I think you do. I can never remember if you have resistance
Yes,
to that.
half.
Yeah, so 9 bludgeoning and 3 necrotic.
Okay.
And it's funny, he kind of just, stumbles over towards you. He doesn't have a weapon. He just, like, punches you as hard as he can. And it is Callum's turn.
All right, let's see. What can I do? Okay. 15. I'm sure that's 25. Oh, and now there's an enemy in the way.
mean,
That's
you can duck
not.
in. You can go in here, this direction.
Oh,
so you
can
don't
you?
have to, yes, it's a double door, so you can just
Okay.
basically step through here into that one.
Okay.
That's what Griswold did.
Okay. The dynamic lighting is still just over it, so I thought it was
Yeah.
still.
It's just it's because the way that the map is drawn. I covered the wall where the wall was, but it's still a double door. Just the if you look closely, you can see that the actual grid doesn't match to the grid that's on the map. It's
Yep.
a little off, so that's why it all gets a little wonky.
Well, Callum's gonna get to here. He's gonna throw 2 punches at this thing that he is flanking with Ragna. Because why not? So let's see. 2 unarmed strikes. Actually, you know what? No, he'll start with a quarter staff, see how that goes. 16? Miss,
Yeah,
I'm assuming?
Nope, that hits.
Oh, it does.
He's a pretty big dude. Pretty easy to hit. He's also not very fast.
7 non-magical bludgeoning. Seems to work okay.
Yep.
Okay. 12 is definitely a miss, I'm sure.
Yes, that is.
Going to spend a key point on a flurry of blows. Throw a 3rd strike at him, this time unarmed. For 9 magical bludgeoning. And then forego the 4th hit to turn it into a hand of healing on Signe. Signe, you're at 7. And then Callum's got plenty of movement to get right back where he was and keep an eye out this way. And that's the turn.
Thank you.
Ragna.
Ragna is going to step around this fellow and with a holler of excitement, Snickersnee is going to attack twice.
Yes. Both times.
Did I click? Okay, it just needed a moment. For 2. Okay, and then she will throw 1 Divine Smite at first level, but I'm going to run it at second because it's undead. I assume it looks ghostly or skeletal.
It is not. It's kind of both. It's a zombie-ish creature. Definitely undead.
For an additional 10 radiant.
All right, this guy's looking pretty beat up already.
And that is Ragna's turn.
Promise. Down the hall.
Yep, as usual. Cromus will start to head up. That's 20 feet.
As fast as your little legs will carry you.
Oh no, I've got 5 more feet.
I'm just kidding.
Within a rounding error of as fast as your little legs will carry you.
Just gotta say, if the door here would be open, or it is, but visibility isn't, would I have been able to see Griswold?
Yeah, both doors are open.
I did hide, so I might be
Yeah,
very
actually,
sneaky.
I
I
take
only
it
rolled a
back.
15.
Well, and actually, you probably can't because again, it's kind of strange. Like, really, I guess because these doors would open inward. So the one door that's next to the zombie there would be up against the wall, but the other one is probably blocking the view into the general direction that Griswold is in. Plus, he's trying to hide. So
That's fine. Then at level 2,
because this door is probably like here, like blocking that general area.
yeah, that's fine. So it just changes one of the targets of a spell. Yeah, at level 2 I'm going to cast Bless. So myself, Callum, Ragnar, and Signe are all blessed.
Thank you.
Hashtag blessed.
Yay!
The only time I ever actually like it.
Anything else?
So you're an order cleric, right?
I am. Would
Who you giving that reaction to?
who would like a reaction to attack?
Clearly not Callum.
Ragnar can try at this thing.
Sure. I will give you the ability to react and strike at something.
Yay! Ragnar will strike at the thing that she has been striking for an additional 15.
Alrighty.
And I am going to telekinetically push myself 5 feet away. Because, fuck you, I'm not taking the opportunity attack.
All right.
I'll take a step to the
Sine.
side as well.
This didn't go as well as you planned, but you're back up.
So the first thing I believe I'd like to do.
A reminder that your rage has ended because you went unconscious.
That is true.
But also, you only have so many a day, so I'm not sure you want to spend it if you're going to get put back on your butt.
That's okay. I have something else in mind.
You know, oddly, the description that of what this thing did, which is just called howl, it doesn't even say that you go unconscious. It just all it says is that if you fail that con save, you drop to 0 hit points. It's just it's a strange omission. I mean, it generally means the same thing, but in most descriptions of that, it would just say you fall unconscious rather than specifically saying you drop to 0 hit points. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird. It's very specific to say that versus you just fall unconscious.
I mean, there are things that can make you unconscious without making you go to 0 hit
I guess
points.
that's true.
So,
I guess that's true.
Yeah, and there's also spells like Death Ward, which is as soon as you hit 0, you get back up to 1.
Right. Anyway, sorry, that was just a.
No, it's a valid point.
Realizing that my bloodline has given me some sort of advantage since having Ragna as my sister has somehow also passed down blessings, I'll release my own howl, cutting through the silence of the temple.
ooh,
Very, very nice.
first time seeing that one.
For some reason, just this divine swell pops up in my party mates. This awkward energy that I feel like my sister would recognize.
Yep.
Then I'll pick up my sword again and go back to hacking.
So, is this just a free action? Does it say any?
Yeah, it's a
Bonus
bonus
action.
Oh, bonus action. Bonus action. Gotcha.
I can't do it again until I've had a long rest.
I like it. Sorry again. Look, this guy, and then this guy. They like have the same expression. They're both just like. Ah. So I assume you're attempting the guy that howled
Oh yeah,
at you.
the one that put me on my butt.
I mean, it's not going to do anything, but remember you've got a D4 on all your attacks.
Yeah, both those hit, so you don't need to worry about
Yeah.
that.
And then that will be my turn.
All right.
Just so we're clear, in case the script was too tiny, the Zealous Presence gives you all advantage on attack rolls and saving throws until the start of my next turn.
Oh, everybody.
Which you're going to need, because everybody in that room needs to do a con save again.
Um,
I'm just out of
Griswold's-
distance.
yeah, Griswold's too far, but Signe's close enough for plus
Actually,
5.
Kramis
Oh.
needs to do it too.
I'm down.
Thank
Oh,
you. I'll take a
okay.
31.
And 5, 10. Kramus is also too far.
Yeah, well, again, I've still got a. It's
It's not the
advantage and a
same thing.
D4.
This isn't the howl. This is not. This is from the other guy.
Oh, okay.
So I rolled a 24.
So, Griswold and Ragna.
It's an advantage.
All right. So
Yeah.
Griswold. Here, I gotta do the math real quick. So Griswold takes 22 points of necrotic damage. The rest of you would take 11. Ragnar would have that again.
Is it 5 rounded
Yeah,
down?
5. It
Yeah.
rounded down.
Okay.
Can I use my reaction to? Oh no, this isn't. Wait, is this technically getting hit with an attack, or does that mean you have to be hit with an attack roll?
This is a legendary action that is essentially it's magic. It's not an attack.
Okay.
Yeah, for the purpose of if you've got something that triggers on when you're hit by an attack, it needs to be something that has an attack roll.
Yes, this is not an attack roll. This is just a save, straight save.
Oh, you said 22 for me,
22,
right?
Correct. Yes. You can see that it's this guy here, and he sort of just raises his hands, and this sort of like radiating blackish energy sort of radiates from him and disrupts life. That is actually what the legendary action is.
Well, it worked. I feel very disrupted.
And
But
then,
luckily, my stuff stays up despite me being down.
Yep.
so he will then actually attempt to attack Ragna at a 23 to hit.
Yep.
A weird description there. So you take 10 points of acid damage as he sort of just reaches out and then splashes you with acid. You're Two-Face now.
Gross.
And now it is the other little creature's turn. Okay, since this is just the night of con saves, Ragna and Griswold, I need another one. Constitution.
We still have
save.
advantage, right?
Good.
That is good. Not good enough.
Oh.
So you can see that this thing Ragna's able to sort of like put up her shield and block this sort of disgusting sort of ray that reaches out towards both of you. And you can see that it's this pulsating sort of energy that is, you can see it's basically pulling the life from you and drawing it back into itself. You would take 21 points of necrotic damage.
And Ragnar
Alright.
takes half.
You wouldn't take any because you.
Okay.
So this one I can see coming, so that means I can't half it? Or no, it's not an attack. Never mind, it's not an attack roll.
It's still not an attack.
All right, so
roll.
you said a 24 this time?
Or 22.
Okay.
Or no, I 21. I'm sorry. I think it was 20. 22 was the first one. 21 this time.
Okay.
But yeah, there's no halved. You just blocked it. So. And it is Griswold's turn.
Right, and I don't like this fucking thing anymore. So I'm gonna get up. I am going to run, jump up on the table, and I am going to try to pinata this thing with my short sword and then poke it with my dagger. So first attack, I will have advantage because of Signe still. And I have sneak attack because Ragnar's within 5 feet, right?
Yep.
All right. So 22. And then offhand.
Just the money. You took exactly what it just got. Well, not exactly, but it regained health and you took it right back. Nope.
Yeah. All right. And I will then try to stab my dagger into anywhere that I see a good opening.
Yeah, this is just a floating skull.
All right. So that is 13. Well, I don't know what it does for necrotic, but 6 magical piercing and 7 necrotic.
Yeah, the necrotic. You notice it doesn't hit. It doesn't. You don't get that
Yeah.
extra oomph when you
All
stab
right.
it.
So, yep. Then.
Thank you for testing that for me.
Yeah, totally. That it's not because my dagger does it automatically. I just wanted to know.
Well, I mean, you did pull it off of a dead necromancer,
Yeah,
so you know.
very true. And yeah, that is gonna be my turn.
All right, it is this zombie's turn. He's looking pretty hurt. So he will just he's not too smart either, so he's just going to continue pounding on Ragna if he can here. Once again, misses on the first one, hits on the second. You take 9 points of bludgeoning damage, and then the necrotic is halved, so it's 3. So 12 points of damage total.
Okay.
And he's looking. Stinkersnee has chopped him up. Probably, maybe he's even missing an arm, and he's just like swinging at you with one more. But yeah, he's not really smart enough to do much more than just lumber along and smash things. But it is Callum's turn.
He could pick up the arm that he's lost and just whack me with it.
Well, I have advantage and I have bless, and the only one who's down is Signe, yes?
Yes.
So, let's go ahead and start swinging at advantage at this guy in the door. Quarterstaff first.
He
So
is
20.
down.
Nice. Step over him then. Let's see, that was 5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
I can imagine that it's just, again, this is like a zombie, so you're just like bashing its head, and then maybe his head just sort of comes loose from his neck. And just,
Oh yeah, that was 2 sides of the head, and one of them just went zipping across the room, almost hits Griswold in the corner. Actually, you know what? I have to do this because. Oh shoot. I don't like that actually. Okay. We're going to use a bonus action for Flurry of Blows. We're going to replace the first one with Hand of Healing on Signe. Signe's back at 6. Then I have to move through Ragnar's space, so 15 to there, and use my second unarmed strike against the floating head.
very nice.
For 11 magical bludgeoning. And I think I have some movement left. So let's see, that was 10, 15, 20, 25. That is as far away as I can get. That's my turn.
Yep, I've just run across the map and back, but that's all I can do.
Ragna.
Okay. Ragna's gonna take 1 step forward and then attack this skull with Snickersnee. Twice. Ooh, the second one is a crit.
It's nice.
15, and then I'm just gonna roll it. Oh, okay, I did it already. And I'm gonna make that crit. Divine Smite. And it's a skull thing, so
You already get the extra.
yep. do that twice.
That's a lot of damage. It's dead.
Yay!
It just so basically it's this floating skull. It's like its eyes are sort of lit up, and as you're just like bashing into it, you can see the as the stereotype goes, you see the light leave its eyes, and it just sort of like drops to the floor.
Regna's gonna pinata it that way, so a head rolls this way and that thing goes that way. And Regna's going to bonus action. Where is it? Cast her Hexblade's Curse on the remaining beastie.
And as you do that, though, well, not as you do the Hexblade's Curse, but as you kill this thing, the guy here just lets out a guttural scream at you.
That was
Very
your girlfriend.
angry.
Ragna curses it. Snickersnee screams back.
All right. Kramis, it is your turn.
I'll move 5 feet so I can see. I was about to spend a sorcery point to twin, but don't need to do that anymore. I think I'll just throw off a fireball at advantage. Keep it simple. I assume a 23 would hit.
It does.
Shit, clicked wrong. A 9.
Already.
I don't know. No, I'm gonna hold it for now.
Signe.
I'll scrape myself off the ground.
For the second time.
As many times as it takes.
Exactly.
And swing twice.
They both miss. Well, if you don't have advantage, right?
Did you attack
Nope.
recklessly?
Yes, guess I will. Why the hell not?
Well, I will let you have it, but you can't have a crit on it because you didn't call it beforehand.
That's fair.
But the second one misses regardless, so.
You also have a D4 on the second one.
Thank you.
So now they both hit. Alrighty. Anything else?
Prepared to get knocked on my butt again. That's all.
Alright. Oh, I'm gonna delete this guy from the thing, delete this guy. Having just killed his little buddy there, Ragna, this one is going to just reach his hand out and point at you, and you do need to make yet again a Constitution saving throw.
Ragna smirks right back.
Oh, but you won't be in a second,
Uh-oh.
because this will be fun because let's see. Give me a second.
When the DM says something's gonna be fun, it's not gonna be fun for you.
I'll make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. All right. So this is great. So, you succeeded. So the damage is halved, and then because it's necrotic damage, it's half again. So you would have taken 72 points of damage, but instead you
Oof.
take 18.
Yay!
Yeah, sounds like that would have sucked.
Yup.
Paladins, man. Gotta love them.
All right. Let me
For some flavor, there's just like black veins on Ragna as she's absorbing this necrotic energy. Her celestial ancestry taking some of it for her. Yay!
So it will, because it's gonna do it. It's gonna take a legendary action, and you need to make a wisdom saving throw.
Ooh.
Plus a d4.
Roll a 4.
The turn order. Nope.
You are now
tried.
frightened of this creature.
Okay.
What type of paladin are you?
What am I? Or what was it called again?
Are you an Oathbreaker?
Oh yeah, I'm an Oathbreaker.
Yeah, she's another break.
Ah, okay. That's right.
And you can repeat the saving throw at the end of your turn
Okay.
to be unfrightened by it. And it is Griswold's turn.
Alright. Alright, well, this thing seems to be angry, and I don't like that, so I'm gonna jump over, leap, landing behind it, and try to dig my short sword down it to its shoulder region and stick it in as far as I could. 17.
Hits.
Alright, with the sneak attack. So 20 total. And then Shadow Song in my offhand. I'm going to try to puncture it in the middle of his upper back, between the shoulder blades. No necrotic, obviously, but 9 piercing.
Okay.
And that'll be his turn.
Callum.
Let's see. Let's come get a lay of the land.
Heads all over the place, and then surrounded.
15. One guy down there. Everyone's conscious this time?
Yep.
Cool.
They won't be when I cast Fireball in the room.
Do it. You won't, you coward. Run up. Let's see how the staff does.
First one hits, second one misses.
10. Non-magical bludgeoning seems okay. So... And I'm gonna just get my free unarmed strike in.
This one, the magic is non-magical. You can tell is not effective on this guy.
Cool. Well, the unarmed strike is magical, so that's
Yes.
enough. And out we go. Callum knows his job. That's the turn.
Ragna.
Okay. Ragna is now hyperventilating slightly and shaking, but she's going to keep her attack going at disadvantage. And she's going to miss the first one and maybe hit the second one. $16?
Misses.
Okay. Ragna's not moving.
You can make another save as well.
Wisdom?
Wisdom, yeah. Still scared.
No luck on the wisdom roll.
Promise. Fireball.
Yeah. Would a d4 have helped her?
On a wisdom save? No.
It's worth asking. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I'm gonna. Sorry, I'll clear my throat before I try and say anything. I will take 2 steps forward. Well, more than 2 steps. Never mind, I'm a fucking moron. God, I need to read my spells. I'll cast Sacred Flame.
Dex save. Is it halved if he succeeds?
I think it's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing.
None if he succeeds on a cantrip.
I roll a 22.
He's fine then. And at level 2, I'll cast Healing Word on Signe. Which means if you want, you can spend a reaction to take a swing.
I will. Thank you.
That's it for me.
And that hits him, so you get an extra damage in. And Signe, it is your turn.
Yay, I'll go reckless. And that will be my turn.
Give me 1 second here. I want to double check something. Is it? He's going to cast Shield on the second one to avoid that damage.
You do have a D4.
Do have a D4. Does it camp?
Yep, it does.
Neat.
All right. So I'm going to be as fair as I possibly can. Everybody but Callum, roll a d20.
No, have him charge at me. Totally worth it.
Bye again.
Yeah. Signe, he is going to cast Power Word Kill.
Doesn't sound too bad.
Oh. Bye, Signe. Oh, wait. Nope. That is fine. I'm glad it's targeting Signe.
Me too.
Let's see.
Oh, because of the basically
He's
free
a zealot.
cost of free cost of resurrection.
As long as someone has a res spell, it's free to cast on her.
Who says I have a resurrection spell?
I didn't. I just said as long as someone does.
I'm just trying to see if I have any bonus actions. I really wish that because on Ragnar he casts Finger of Death, which means that you could have resurrected as his zombie, and actually you would have, because I mean that 71 points would have taken you down, but he does not have a good enough bonus action here, so it is Griswold's turn.
All right. So he has been fucking us up for a while now. So Griswold will keep doing the only thing he really can do. I am going to take my dagger and sword at the same time and just try to stick each of them in one side of his neck. The short sword first, a 29 to hit with the sneak attack, so 20 total. And then the Shadow Song once again at the other side of his neck, 17.
Hits.
So 5 more damage. Because I'm assuming it's also 0 necrotic. Correct. And I mean, yeah, that's gonna be it.
Callum.
So I come in. Is Signe like dead? What has
She-
happened? Dead. I can't fix dead. Everyone else is still conscious though, so unarmed strikes. Gingerly lean my quarterstaff against the wall in the hallway before I run back in. And then here we go.
Hit. Hit again.
Sometimes I forget how good Bless can be.
Bless is fantastic.
He is looking
So
pretty hurt right now.
that +3 isn't there because that was if it crit. So 28. And I already used my bonus action, so yeah, let's just back off a little bit this way. That's the turn.
Regna.
Right now, lets out a scream of fear and also sadness because Signe literally collapsed again. And she's gonna keep swinging Snickersnee at disadvantage. Missing and. Missing. Oh, wait, she's got a +4.
So you
D4.
get it hits because it's
Or
17.
yeah,
to hit.
D4, that's what I meant.
So you couldn't have failed with bless.
So that is 17 plus an additional 4 for her curse. And then she's going to pump in a level 2 Divine Smite at it. And I'm just going to roll it at level 3 because it's an undead creature for an additional 22.
All right, it is very hurt.
And then
Screaming in your face.
Wisdom 14. Still rolling wonderful.
Plus a
Still
D4.
scared. 16. Still shaking in fear. And she's just gonna scream out, "Can someone help Signe?"
He's beyond me.
Alrighty, Kramus.
Seems like the best way to help these people would be to try and finish this off as soon as possible. So, with that being said, as he draws upon a large well of magic, he's going to unload a level 5 guiding bolt. Holy shit!
He's gonna cast Counterspell.
You
Does he
fucking
up
spoil the sport.
Does he upcast it?
He would because he's got plenty of spells to do so, spell slots to do so in that range.
So what level's he casting it at? 5th?
Yeah, he'll cast it at 5th level,
Okay.
so it's 10 plus the spell's level.
It would be, but if he casts it at 5th level, there's no check. He just auto
Well, right.
cancels it.
Right.
I kind of just want to roll the damage.
Yeah, go for it. Just to see what it would have been.
So I think it only casts it at level 1, so this is still going to be 8d6. I can click it there. Oh god, the 3D dice.
Turn that off, man.
Well, it looks fun when you roll a lot of dice.
It does look cool, but roll 20 is not.
I think that would have done it.
Yeah, for sure. That would have killed him.
But
And I think seeing you generate that much power was enough for him to be like, no, thank you.
I'm just seeing if I've got any reactions to just say fuck you.
Counter the counter spell.
No, I think it may be silvery bars, but that's for actual rolls. Yeah, if you would have cast the counter spell at 1 level lower, I could have used it, but fuck it.
Yeah, he doesn't really have any level 5 spells that he would. He has 3 spell slots for it, but he is not going to cast Scrying, for example. So I don't know why they give like NPC monsters like spells that like are not combat in nature, but
Well, I mean, that's why they did the whole rework with Monsters of the Multiverse. A bunch of the NPCs in there lost a lot of their utility spells.
yeah, it's kind of silly.
Bonus action, I'm just going to telekinetically move her body 5 feet away from it. Not going to make that much of a difference, just...
Like behind Ragna.
Yeah, just something you can't desecrate.
All right, and Signe doesn't need to do anything because she's actually dead. So, but seeing you do that, Kramus, and generate all of that power, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Wow, this is clearly my best roll. A 14.
All right.
Actually, no, I'm going to use Favoured by the Gods. I'm going to roll an extra 2d4 and add it to it. So that's a 21. I can't count a spell, but fuck you.
You still take damage. So you guys are lucking out in a lot of respects here. So it's 6. You take 79 points of force damage.
I'm going to roll a Constitution check. I'd have to roll a nat 20, but it's not going to happen. Yeah, Bless is gone.
But if you hadn't saved,
Oh yeah,
you
I'd be
would have been
dead.
disintegrated.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking to myself. He's responding after I cast a higher amount of magic. Probably want to save that.
Yeah. All right. So a zombie and a pile of ashes were saved this day, but it is Griswold's turn.
Yeah. Well, while he is distracted with our new dwarven companion, I am going to just keep stabbing like a psychopathic killer, and I am going to go once again for just his neck or back, whichever one is easiest to reach. So, short sword first, plus the sneak, 23, and then the shadow song once again towards the back of the head.
All right. Well, how would you like to do it? Because he's dead.
I will stab him with the short sword in the lower back and kind of force him down a bit, and then the dagger is going straight into the top of his head down, and he will just collapse, and so will Griswold because he is fucking dead tired.
And Regna is gonna let out a screech and stab at the body of the zombie skeletal creature.
Says Lich. Yeah. That's crazy though. Disintegrate. If you fail a save, it's 10d6 plus 40 on a failure.
Disintegrate sucks when it's against you, but when you're using it, it's so much fun.
Yeah, that's great. All right, out of combat.
Can somebody save her, please? And Ragna's gonna kneel beside Signe.
I apologize, but that's not the magic I wield.
Callum will go over, take another quick look, and just... She's beyond my abilities to repair, though one with such a strong life force could likely be brought back with magic closer to Arvid's.
So we need to get to a temple where there's more powerful holy people.
Correct.
So Griswold's going to stand up, quickly rummage through anything this thing has for belongings, and just say, well, it appears we can't keep looking around here, and we need to get going.
Agreed. Callum will do his best to pick up Signe. I don't know how much she weighs, but he also is carrying almost nothing, so I think he can probably do it.
Ragna will just push Callum aside and pick up Signe, no problem.
She's about 200 pounds.
Yeah, he can carry that. He's only got like 15 pounds of equipment.
She's also carrying like 4,000 pounds of equipment because she just is a hoarder.
I am not, because you sent me to
swords and
hell, so I
shields
have
and-
nothing.
Well, that's true. I forgot. Not anymore. You lost all your stuff.
I have 3 rations and 2 longswords, and lots of undead rage.
And I will say, I mean, in this day, in the age of Arcanum, considering what you all know about death and magic and its somewhat impermanence in this regard, the reason that you couldn't really do much for Arvid is that his body was taken away. Whether or not you leave immediately, I guess. So I don't think that you guys would know that she could basically be resurrected for free, but you would know that the only thing that rushing to get her resurrected as soon as possible, the only thing it's going to do is potentially save money. Because whether it's a day or 10 days or 100 days, she can be resurrected, and you know that.
But as a reminder, we currently have no money.
That's true.
One of us has money.
Right. So I want to throw it out there that it's not necessarily like it would be in real life. Like, oh my God, we got to get to our hospital. We got to get, resurrect her, or not resurrect her, but you know what I mean? Like, we need help immediately, or it's all is lost. It's not really like that in this time. So just as a, if you don't want to run out immediately, you don't have to.
Well, we have no idea, like you said, that it will be free. We recently went to get a plane shift spell, and it was ridiculously expensive. So in Griswold's mind, we need to go right now, because if it gets more expensive, we will not be able to do it.
You also have to. You also have 2 people that have connections to the temple. Whether or not Ragna's connections are valid anymore is up to debate. But you know,
Mm.
there's a potential for they're both they both left the Temple of Arathis, so maybe don't go to the Temple of Arathis for help. But
Seems like the Temple of Ioun might be a good place to start, since it happened clearing out one of their temples.
Is there anything on the Lich?
he is carrying no weapons. This is all magic.
Am I able to find anything that
Does he have a spell book?
could signify him as a Lich?
He would have a spell book, yes.
I'll take it. But yeah, if there's nothing like, I'll just what part of him looks like the most preserved from when he was alive? Like, can I take like a finger or something just to prove that we're not lying if we say, hey, look, we helped your temple and destroyed the undead in it?
I mean, probably his head.
Okay. I will start sawing at it with my short sword. And Griswold will just, well, they might be more willing to help if they know what was here and what did this to her.
Makes sense. We certainly won't make it there within minutes, so by all means.
You are probably a day or two away from the Blackhold proper, the actual village. This was essentially like uh I didn't describe it because it was night, but this is there's an older village that's surrounding this temple that is just no longer in use. It didn't look like it. It just was probably the precursor to Blackhold and was just abandoned, not for any sinister reasons, but
And as we're all getting ready to like gather our stuff and everything, Griswold will say, well, uh, we're a while away, but I could run ahead and see if I could get some help to come back, and perhaps I could run up if anyone wants to pool a bit of money. I could get a horse for her.
If we want to send someone ahead, I think it should be me.
Oh, I thought you would help carry her. I'm not that strong.
Oh, I've got her. And she holds Signe close to her.
Griswold will throw you 10 gold pieces out of his. Well, actually, just throw you his whole coin purse with 10 gold pieces in it, and just say, "I don't know how much a horse is. I'll get back whatever else after."
Healer, and as quickly as possible. Noted. All right. Anyone else? I obviously don't have any coin on me.
Here, and Ragna will give you 9 gold, which is all her gold. I don't have much, but it's something.
Kronos,
Callum
before
will
we do go,
nod.
can you also do that the fire to this thing here?
I certainly can. And I'll start casting Sacred Flame on the free undead.
Griswold will just say, "All right, well, gather everything. I'll go make sure the path is clear on the way out," and he'll just sneak around, looking through like back towards the exit.
So yeah, I mean, I guess Callum's going ahead for people then. Although you said it's like we're a couple days out.
uh, at a regular pace, it'd be about a day and a half to 2 days.
Okay. Does Callum know enough about resurrection magics to know what the windows on those kinds of spells would be? Since he doesn't know that she's immune to the costs.
I think he probably would have a general idea, yeah.
Because what? It's like one of them is like a day, and then the next one up is like a week.
Let me double check exactly what they are. So we've got Raise Dead, which is 10 days. You have a Revivify, which
Revivify is a minute.
there's Reincarnate, which is no more than 10 days. There's Resurrection, which is up to a century. And then there's True Resurrection, which is no older than 200 years.
So it's 1 minute, and the next one up was a
10
day or 10 days?
10
Okay.
days. If I'm looking at this correctly. Yeah,
So, knowing that, and kind of, if he knows about how far we are, he would say, before we go, I would say that even moving as quickly as possible, I think it's going to take more than a day to get her to someone of the cloth. That is already going to put us in a rather difficult situation with this. It may behoove us to ingratiate ourselves to this order more by finishing the job here first.
So
If I remember correctly from my studies with the druids, if it takes more than a day, there are a few spells that have about a 10-day window.
and Raise Dead, which is the lowest level, 10 days, is on average, we'll say, about 500 gold pieces because it requires a 500 gold diamond to cast it.
So I would imagine, based on how the Grove used to do their payments, be about 500 gold or so we're expecting.
it is Ragnar's sister. I'm better letting her decide.
Well, I do know a little about the spells as well well, once a paladin. Uh, I say let's finish this place. I want to, well, kill the things that are in here. If kill is the correct word for these undead creatures.
Close enough. They are already dead, but put them to rest, perhaps.
Well, Ragnar, when we were in the hells, your friend, and he kind of like points under your eye, she was willing to help us. Do you think there's any chance she would be willing to help again?
I could try.
You haven't seen
And
her since you got here.
yeah, Ragnar will just take 2 steps over here and say, Tasha, can you hear me? And try to channel her divinity.
You get no response.
Ragnar will try to concentrate for a bit longer and then just sigh and shake her head.
I would say what you do get is it's almost like a bit of interference in a way. Like you can tell that what this is working essentially. Like it's not like it's not nothing where you're just like, oh, I'm getting no connection to her whatsoever. It's more like it feels like a static. It almost kind of gives you a little bit of a headache as well, and it's a compounded in what we talked about before, where you started to feel more of a dark energy from her than when you were in the Feywild, and she was, oh, it's helpful Zabilna, wee, like now you're getting sort of this dark static coming back from her that is somewhat unpleasant. But she doesn't say anything back to you.
Ragnar will let out a shuddering sigh and say, well, she's not responding. Let's just get this place cleaned out quick.
Well,
So are you guys are clearing out the bodies that you've killed? Is that what we're doing?
He's been doing the sacred flame stuff,
Okay.
and then I guess we're going to keep moving forward.
All right. So there's a door
And
down there.
Ragnar is going to just close or set Signe like off to the side and close the door.
Okay.
And just say, I'll come back for you, Signe.
so you said there's doors down here?
All right. I will once again check for traps and if it is locked.
Also, just as a general aside as well, I think Ragnar would have a general idea of the sort of capabilities of her patron, and spells like that. She's not I mean, she's essentially a wizard. She doesn't cast holy spells, so you would know that for her to it's not she's not incapable of casting something to resurrect someone, but you would know that again this is something like a wish spell that would be required, because she actually does have that spell on her character sheet, but she doesn't cast any sort of, she's not a druid, she's not um a cleric or anything like that, so all of her spells are generally arcane in nature. So not saying that you wouldn't have attempted to contact her, but just as it would be like, okay, I know that she's not going to be helpful generally in that regard.
Yep.
This door is locked, also not trapped. This door is also not quite as well, it's not as well built. It's not as sturdy looking. It looks more like a kind of a regular door.
Okay. I will go for the unlock. Roll the 3.
And back.
All right. He will move back.
Ragnar will open door.
All right, so I'm gonna do this, and I got to explain. So actually made double doors. Um, you see an image, you see a creature here, but it's actually not. It's incorporeal, essentially. It doesn't look like it's actually here. This appears to be like a conjured image of a demon, but it's not. You can tell that it's not. It's not physically there. It's just sort of like a flickering image of one. But I didn't have a way to make that as a token, so
Ragnar tilts her head as she steps inside.
Intriguing.
yeah, you guys can do, like, if you want to investigate the room, you can do that.
Yep.
I mean, Callum's attention's on the demon. What does he know about whatever this demon is?
You do a. I don't know what would be the what. I is it nature?
Religion?
I don't know. Is it, yeah,
Arcana?
I guess religion. I guess is probably the best for a demon.
Yeah, I think I'll take a pot at a religion check.
Callum, you're not. I mean, you're confident that this is a demon of some sort. Kramus, you would have a better idea that this is the image of a shadow demon.
And what would a shadow demon be doing in a place like this?
It's not moving or anything either. Like it's kind of like it's almost like a projection of like a 3D projection. Like you think of like the Star Wars with the little like the 3D hologram kind of thing. That's kind of what this looks like.
Me
It's just,
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
exactly. It's that kind of thing. So you can if you stand close enough to it, essentially you can actually kind of see through it as well. From a distance, it looks more solid, but as you get closer, you can see that like you could like put your hand through it if you wanted. It's not really there, and it's not moving. It's not making any like it's not like it's trapped or anything like that. It just appears to be kind of an image of one. And Ragnar, that investigation was for the room.
Yeah.
So was mine.
Okay. So yeah, you notice a few things. You can see that down here on this little pedestal type thing, there is what appears to be um, a ritual of some kind. With a 27 and your general idea now a little bit about magic, this does look to be like some sort of summoning spell. So you get the idea that maybe this was a failed attempt to summon a demon. There are some like notes on the other tables. Don't pertain directly to anything that's also that the other thing is mentioning, but you do see that it looks like there are a few research notes about the mushrooms. But that's all that you'd find in here.
I'll look to Kramus and say, Kramus, it appears they were trying to summon perhaps this actual demon or something. Can you do anything to purify the area or anything like that to make it so they wouldn't be able to come back and finish?
Is that something I would be able to do, GM?
I'll point them out to like what I saw over here and stuff.
I mean, you're mostly a sorcerer, right? You're not really much of a cleric.
No, yeah, well, one level in, like, Order Cleric.
Yeah.
Like, at best, I could fuck up the room and hope that does it.
I mean, dispel magic would probably be what you would want to be, and I would say you would have a general idea that as a sorcerer that would likely be what you'd want to do. But if you don't have that spell, you probably I don't know what your spell list is, but you probably
No, that's
Yeah.
not in my repertoire.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not a piece of magic I hold within my skill set. But if we informed others, they may be able to dispel the creature.
And is this just like a regular book mat?
It's just kind of like a parchment, like a rolled
Okay.
parchment.
I'll roll that up and put it in my pocket, and I'll just say, well, at least if you could give them some information on what the type of summoning or something of the sort that they could gain from this.
Also,
Nothing.
Mike, don't forget, because I will forget. So remind me before the game is over. I mean, maybe if you take a rest or whatever, you can do it, but just don't let me forget to tell you what is in the spell book, because it's a Lich's spell book. It's a pretty good
Yep.
spell book. So
Yep. I'll remember.
I think
Okay.
it has Disintegrate.
it has all the spells that he cast against you in it. So
Mhm.
obviously,
That might be our new way to make some money is sell the spell book.
that would be a very valuable spell book. I mean,
Mhm.
it's got a 9th level spell in it. So
Mhm.
Can Ragnar look through the stuff about the mushrooms?
I mean, how much time do you guys want to spend investigating?
I was a Callum, as soon as he's like, okay, I don't know what this thing is, he is already like clearly standing at the door, like he's not saying anything yet, but there's very clearly an air of let's get a move on.
Ragna's just, can she like collect the research material and shove it in a backpack?
Yep.
Okay, she's gonna do that for later.
So all along the wall there to your left, there are many, well, not many doors, but there are doors all along the side there.
Oh,
So
okay. Right
so
here, like.
no, right here. So these are
Oh, okay, okay.
so all of these are these are doors here.
I will give a look for any sort of locks and traps.
Yeah, you don't even need to roll for it because it's obvious. Because some of these doors are pretty beaten in. So you looking at them, you see that they all appear to be the same. So they're just little like where like the clerics and stuff would have stayed. They're just little small dormitories with a single. I'll just open up all the doors for you just so that you have an idea about what's happening here in the map. So they're just all little dormitories essentially where they would sleep.
Okay, upstairs quickly.
So these are doors.
Nothing else on this floor.
These are doors here as well.
Oh.
But I would
I'm gonna
say
just look around on the table and stuff.
Same stuff. About well, it's not obviously not the same stuff, but it's more research notes on the mushrooms.
Okay.
I'll point them out to Ragnar in case she wants them.
Ragnar just grabs them and shoves them in her pack.
And I would say that this door is even slightly ajar. There may be glass doors because I'll just open it because basically these are doors that go out to like a balcony type.
Oh.
And then you can see around the corner there's this massive overgrown plants that are blocking the path around.
Like blocking through this way.
Yeah.
I will start cutting them.
It's going to take a long time to cut them. And they're also they go up all the way along the tower. So if Callum really wanted to with his parkour, he could probably.
I was gonna say I can run 120 feet straight up a wall if I want to.
You can also you could also probably do a little parkour like around this pillar to like jump to the other side as well, if you really wanted to. All of you could probably do that. I think that Kramus would probably have the most difficult time to get around the column just because of his size.
You want to go give a quick look, Callum, and then if it's nothing, we could go back to the other staircase.
Feels like this wouldn't be worth it though.
Certainly, if it's blocked off like this, nothing's going to be coming from this way. I say we go up first and then explore this at the end if needed.
All right. Go back this way, back this way.
Oops.
All right. And you said at the top of this, it wasn't like really a door; it was more like a movable stone wall.
Well, it's a wall that you assume is probably movable, but you don't see the mechanism at. I mean, you can investigate it if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll go up and give it a look over.
You do see that there is off to one side there is an odd shaped opening in the side of the wall there. It's actually much large. It's not a keyhole. It's actually quite a bit larger than a keyhole. It's at first glance it's I don't. I guess like I'm best to do this. Let me see if I can draw it. I guess. Um.
I think I already kind of know what you mean.
Well, what it is essentially, it looks kind of like this. Um. And I just put it in a spot that you guys can't see, so that's helpful. So can you guys see that drawing, sort of?
Yep.
Black. So it's just kind of like a U-shaped almost.
Right. If I'm looking at it a little bit more closely, does it look like I could put like a dagger or something in it and like can I perhaps like move it so it'll is that possible like the opening mechanism I could check?
You can attempt that, sure.
Yeah, I'll I'll stick a dagger in the starting at the left side and just run it down and around it. Not Shadow Song just in case, but just a regular dagger.
Yeah, I would say that as you do that, you notice that it doesn't really feel like there are any mechanisms, like mechanical mechanisms in there that would like you could click or anything like that, which leads you to believe one of two things. Either this is not related to what you're trying to do, or there's likely a magical component to this.
All right. Um, well, I wasn't when this is the room that I did cast detect magic in earlier. Was anything coming from up here?
There wasn't.
Okay. Um. Yeah. So Griswold's gonna. I don't know. Can I like just focus on like the stone wall itself? Does it feel like, if we pushed hard enough or moved it, like is it able to be moved?
Uh, it does not. It feels very, very solid.
Yeah. Griswold's he'll point it out to everyone else in case they might have any idea, like the thing on the wall, and just I don't understand how this would open. There's nothing mechanical inside, but I don't know what else it would be right next to this wall for.
Something fits exactly inside, or maybe. And Regna will just stick her hand in to see if it's like that thing that jabbed her and got blood that way other time.
Nothing happens.
Well, it's not like that other mechanism we encountered. Maybe something does fit exactly inside.
Or perhaps it's magical?
Is it possible, considering that this is related to the Ioun, that this is some form of religious thing? Like maybe it goes an inkling?
Can
Do a religion check.
Can Ragna also do said religion check?
Yep.
Ragna is too distraught.
Nothing that jumps out to you as it relates to Ioun. I would say with a 24 in religion, though, you would be pretty certain that it's not anything even um, like what Griswold would maybe have assumed by there being no mechanical thing. That you think that this might also be magical, but likely not any sort of religious magic. This appears to be based on because again, like you can see the original outline of the door. This doesn't appear that this place doesn't look like it was ever designed to have a door or to be blocked off. This looks like it was just like part of the opening to the top of the stairs. So this thing that you're looking at does not look original. And I would even say that the brick looks newer than the stone that's around, like on the walls around the stairs.
Whatever
Ragna,
it is. Oh, go ahead.
Ragna is just gonna look around to see if she can find something of that shape in this area.
Yeah, I was just going to put my hand in and cast light.
You wouldn't find anything that jumped out at you in this room. If any of the rest of you want to do, because I'm pretty sure that Griswold's the one actually like investigated this. Anybody else can choose to do so if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. I said, I can put my hand in and cast like a cantrip to see if it does anything, but apart from that, I'll investigate the room.
The
Ragnar
only
keeps
thing,
looking around, but she's distracted.
yeah, the only thing Griswold can think of is going back to the Lich and looking to see if he has anything, because it seems like he was kind of the one running shit here. So he'll go see if he has anything that matches that shape.
Yeah, I've got a 22.
Yeah, and I won't make you move your token. As you go in there, and then Kramus might be able to, with a 19. If you mention this to him, he might agree. That shape looks like a jawbone.
Well, if
Technically,
so,
Griswold does have a head.
Yeah. So I will just take the head back out and put one hand on the upper half of it and one hand on the bottom jaw and just pull.
Yep, it would come free.
All right. I will put it in.
As you do that, you notice it doesn't fit. It's too big.
Too big.
Let's go.
I will run back and get the mini skull. Yeah.
So upon doing that and putting that in there, you it does fit, and you see the door slide. It like slides into the rest of the wall, and you are now free and clear in this room.
All right. Griswold really doesn't want to take extra time, so I'm just going to use a spell and just instantly cast Detect Magic.
You get the mushrooms. There's also a magical sigil on the floor.
Yep.
And as that door opens, a door from behind Ragna opens as well, and you see a figure standing there, and she goes, hello.
Hello.
And she just sort of looks at all of you like, what the hell? Where did you all come from?
Dagger and short sword are out,
So
and
this,
I approach. I mean, I'm not like charging to attack her, but I'm getting close enough to her.
Ragnar would put an arm in front of Griswold as well. Um, are you part of a cult?
Hey, just as a heads up, Callum's trying to speak, but he can't be heard. He may have to bail and come back in.
well, while I was trying to figure that out, why don't we just take a quick break? I'm gonna go grab a drink.
Same.
Oh, actually, this is an okay time to feed the boy and
Hello.
hello.
There you are.
Yeah, just in time for us to take a break. So
I was like, it's weird that these like no one's acknowledging anything I was saying, but other people are talking too, so maybe they're just not hearing me. That's okay.
we're just ignoring you. No one cares what Callum thinks. All right, we'll be back in like a couple minutes. I'm gonna go grab a drink.
All right.
don't know why Discord hates me so much. Half the time it doesn't remember that the headset that I'm using is the same one that I always use and is never unplugged. And then now it got rid of all my keybinds.
Well, I have
Mm.
my same headset I've always used. If I uh, mute the headset now, I have to cycle my microphone input just to get it to be able to talk again. So it's not just you that Discord
To be
hates.
a half blood.
So dumb. I don't understand
Being a half blood
Literally the
is
most popular
dangerous.
thing for gamers and that kind of stuff, and
It's
it
scary.
is still.
Most of the time,
Trash.
it gets you killed.
I remember being amazed
If you
back in the day
think
using
you
like
might be one of
Ventrilo
us,
or Roger Wilco
my
or
advice
something.
is turn away while you still can. Believe
ICQ.
whatever lie your mom or dad told you about your birth. Try to live a normal life. Because once you know what you are, you'll sense it too.
You know, a bunch of people who still stream it as like they're professionals today, and I don't know why, but every single one of them use Skype. I never understood it because I hated Skype.
Now it's Teams that Microsoft uses because we have to use that for work instead of Skype.
hmm I know a lot of people use that. A lot of people use like Zoom and all that shit.
All right, is everybody back?
Yee.
I
Yeah.
am.
Yes.
All right. So, as you entered this room, you looked around, you detected magic, and then from behind you, this other door opened, and you saw this woman standing behind you.
And Ragnar just asked if she was in a cult.
Oh, yes. She raises an eyebrow a little bit. I guess cult adjacent would be appropriate. I'm not a member.
Are you a prisoner?
No, I'm not entirely here at my own choice, I suppose. And she kind of puts her head out of the door frame a little bit, just to kind of like look around to see, if there's, what she can see, how many of you there are, and she's like,
I mean, immediately, does it seem like she's trying to bullshit us so that we kill her?
you can do insight check.
Ragnar's gonna attempt that.
Yeah.
I mean, I am awful at it, but I will also try it.
It's not something Ragnar would have done before, but after
thank
what
God you guys
happened with Tasha.
So a couple of things. So for those of you with high, you get the impression that she doesn't seem to be lying. There is something odd about her, but even though you can't see it on the token, something you would have noticed looking at her, probably Griswold and Ragna in particular, because she's you're closest to her. But you see two things that strike you. One is that, based on your experience, she looks like she's probably dead, or undead, as it were. And then you both of you probably also, well, Griswold might not notice it necessarily. I'm not gonna make you roll perception checks, but she's got a number of tattoos on her face, but she also has a faded image that mirrors yours, Ragna. The chicken claw, the chicken foot.
Do you know Tasha?
He kind of looks at you awkwardly, like, is that a friend of yours? I don't. Did you kill everyone?
Yes.
Working
Well,
on it.
They were already dead.
we killed them further. Laid them to rest.
you can see that a bit of worry is in her face, and she just kind of nods. Well, I'm just supposed to study these mushrooms. I assume you probably have intentions of killing me, but I don't pose any threat. I would I I will answer.
Who do you work for?
You see,
Who are you researching these for?
you can see when you say that she swallows really hard, and she's like, "Well, I don't think of myself as working, but I am here because of Magrius."
I know that name.
Yes, that is a son of you have all. Callum definitely would be like, but all of you have heard that name before. He's one of the sons of Nerul. He is an Empyrean.
Well, it sounds like you don't want to be here. I feel no need to kill you.
Hello.
I think we're losing you again, Callum.
Yeah, I think you are losing me.
Because I just heard a little bit, and yeah, you were probably trying to say stuff, but we didn't hear you.
I'll fill in for him. She works for Nerul. Kill her.
Yeah, you might just have to drop reload Discord, bud.
Any better?
I could hear you perfectly now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Because before messing with my headphones had fixed it, so I assumed it wasn't Discord.
No, I can still hear you good.
Well, yeah, you totally hit the nail on the head. She's working for Nerul. She needs to go away.
Doesn't seem to have been her choice. I say we just ask her her questions
Choice of
and
any to work for Nerul, or very few. And yet we've destroyed all the others. They're doing the same to prevent them from spreading his influence.
Are you saying that out loud, Callum?
Yes.
Yeah. She would just sort of like put her hands up. She's like, I didn't. I don't know anything about Nerul. I wasn't brought back by choice.
Very few are. By all means, I do not mean this by anything personal, and certainly you seem to have retained more of yourself than most, but that is simply something that we cannot allow.
I don't think that's necessary. I think we can just ask her questions, and then she just does what she wants.
And she looks at you, Ragna, and she's like, and she kind of like, you can see that she's looking at your mark, and she's like, "Do you work for Yaga?"
Yes, although I know her as Tasha. And I did know her as, well, I knew her as something else before.
Sibilna.
Yeah,
So
but she doesn't.
Well, and actually, so you technically, so she said Yaga, which is actually Tasha's mother or adopted mother, Yaga the
Oh,
Unfeeling,
whoops.
Baba Yaga. So as in, having yeah, but having said that, you would assume then that that's where her mark came from.
Was that mark given to you in life or after?
I served Yaga in life. I was
Yes.
what people called a hedge witch, which is why I assume I was brought back to study these mushrooms. And I do have some information. I can tell you what I found. I don't I don't have any loyalty to Magrius. I don't want anything to do with him. I just, well, I mean, I don't.
If you want nothing to do with him, then why are you here working for him?
She was forced. So that's already been said.
Well, it's not
If
so much that I just. It may sound selfish, I suppose, but I don't want to go back to being dead.
that is understandable.
Right. Well, um, what are you? Are you a lich? Are you? I don't know much of the undead.
I don't really know much about it either.
What about the others that were here? You asked if we killed them. Were you familiar with them at all?
I tend to keep to myself in this room back here. I they're not. Most of them didn't really seem to either be interested or, in some cases, capable of speaking. And the humans, the cultists that you mentioned, they seemed frightened of me.
Well, perhaps Ragna and Callum, we could come to a middle ground. We're looking for a way to get help for Signe. This person can vouch for what we have seen here and what's taken place here. Once we do get to a temple, they'll be more likely to offer help or a reward for what we've done, as well as perhaps come here and clean up the rest of the mess. If she were to come with us and inform them of what was going on.
Callum thinks for a few seconds. I agree that we could take her with us to the temple.
And you see that she looks a little worried. I'll do what I can to help you, but I would prefer not to go to a place where they may attempt to kill me on sight.
Yes, I don't feel like she deserves death. Unless
No
you wish
one.
to be put to rest, but it sounds like you don't. It sounds like you just want to continue living as you are.
It's not ideal to be considered undead, I suppose, but I don't relish the idea of going back.
What about these hedge mages? Are there others or hedge witches?
I from what I've been able to gather, I think I've probably been dead for many hundreds of years. I don't really know enough about the area to say where they might be. There used to be a few that I know of, but I imagine they're all gone.
I can attempt to call for Tasha. We know that Yaga the Unclean was her mother. Perhaps she will take you on as she has me.
You can see that she just kind of shakes her head and looks a little bit scared. And she's like, I don't serve her anymore. She's become something else. I don't want anything to do with her.
What has
If
she
I
become?
remember correctly from our time in the Feywild, we learned that Tasha and her mother aren't exactly co-conspirators.
What do you mean what she has become?
She's 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 dead, and what has happened to her since is not, well, let's just say it's part of the reason I prefer to not go back.
She's dead like you, or dead like at rest?
She's not at rest, but she's not on the material plane. She's become a tool of Nerul and his twisted games.
As I'll do eventually. Does that
Gri-
up?
uh, Gr- Griswold is going to reach back into his bag and pull the head back out and just, well, I saw this earlier and it was a bit concerning, but it's starting to make more sense. And I'll just put it out in front of Ragna and point, and you see another one of the markings underneath his eye too, the Lich's eye. If she's working for Nerul, uh, people with your mark may be thought to be doing the same.
That's unfortunate. I guess nothing about that I can do at this point. I've got the mark. And our new acquaintance here also has the mark.
I'm. My name is Petra.
Oh, I'm Regna.
Petra, that the marking that you all have, it was also uh Yaga's.
Yes.
Is it
I mean, actually,
a
Tasha has
family
one.
marking?
Tasha has one too. Or actually, it's from Baba Yaga.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. He's asking like if it. So is it a family marking? Does that mean Ragna, or is it her? Do you think her whole lineage would have that marking?
I
Not.
would imagine it's an adopted symbol of Tasha's, branded by her mother and reclaiming it as her own.
Well, I do think one very bit of important information here, Ragna, is even if and he kind of looks over at Petra. You said her name was right.
Yep.
And he's gonna say, no offense, but not everyone with the marking will be able to be trusted now. It may be ones who are serving under Yaga, who is under the rule.
That is fair, but I think I can trust Petra at least. And could certainly help us know what Magrius is up to and where to find him so that we
Well,
can take him out.
I see this as a very complex situation. One, she clearly works for someone who is at complete odds with us. Two, she was forced to, which makes it difficult to immediately say that she should be punished for it. But there's no guarantee we have that she will not go run and inform him of everything we've done if we leave her be.
I would also point out that most, I would say all, except for this possible individual, of the undead we have seen are compelled to obey their masters, regardless of what they prefer to do in life.
That is a good point.
I don't have any sort of compulsion or any sort of mind control forcing me to do anything. I was only doing it so that they didn't kill me. And speaking of mind control and compulsion, that's actually what he's trying to do with these mushrooms.
Um, so he's trying to spread them around to control people?
Um, I don't really know much. I haven't found a lot as it relates to the spread of them, but if you make I guess a tea, well, you might call it, out of them, um, it can cause well,
I'll be right back.
as this fellow mentioned, a bit of a involuntary compulsion to keeps people, I suppose, a weakened state, that they are uh, easily suggestible to doing things. I haven't really, I suppose, perfected it, but that's what his goal was to. Um, as is my understanding, it's sometimes difficult to control undead, and as they don't have a lot of thinking power on their own, so he wants to find a way to control the living so that they will be more capable than the undead. This is, as my understanding, is a bit against his own father. I don't, I don't know what the end game is, but like I said, I'm happy to answer anything that I know. I don't know that I know a whole lot, unfortunately.
So, if I'm understanding you correctly, the reason that you retain your individuality is that it is only a side effect of his decision to let you continue to keep your mind to use to his business.
I don't know exactly how it works. Most of the undead that I've come across don't retain any sort of mind of their own. I don't really know how I'm different. I can only assume that based on what I was capable of in life, having been brought back. And then she kind of looks at her body's like, I don't even know how I got back into this body. It's been a very long time.
So, did you also say Magrius is working against Nerul?
Well, that's just an assumption on my part because Narul would have, from what I know, would have very little interest in using the living for his purposes. That's not really his domain. He wouldn't gain any power from doing that.
Well,
I
I
can
think
agree with that.
I believe where this is most complicated comes down to you and Griswold kind of like scratches his head for a second. He just y- you're working for Magrius. Well, how about this? The others that were here, the Lich and the others, who did they work for? Were they also Magrius, or were they
Yes,
something else?
this entire place was all according to Magris's design.
Do you know what their task was? Was it just to ensure you stayed here to do the research?
Some of the cultists themselves were supposed to also be um, researching as well, and the rest of the undead were, I suppose, more of a protection detail.
Well, I don't know, but there is a saying: "The enemy of an enemy is a friend." Oh, if this Magrius truly is working against his father, I see that as a good thing. But it's if we can really truly believe that he is.
From what I know of Magrius, he would not be a pleasant bedfellow by any stretch.
No reason to be friends, but if he just so happens to be working against him at the same time as we are, I don't see a problem.
At the very least, we know that when we go to attack Nerul, he won't be present against us.
Also, who
True.
would you be if you were the god of death? who would you be more focused on? 4 or 5 random mortals, or your son, who is also a god working against you? Keeps us under the radar and perhaps out of danger.
True. You do both raise good points.
Though I admit I don't like this idea of the mushrooms existing to potentially compel the living to do what they don't want to do. Is there a way to destroy these mushrooms?
They're not. They do contain some magic, but I mean, you could just any normal means of destroying vegetation would work. If you burn it or whatever would be enough.
Well, I believe, Ragnar, I agree with you. We could let her be under one condition, that she does not continue giving Magrius any information about how to control the living. You say you feel no desire or requirement to serve him, so we would ask you not to.
I won't stay here. That's for sure. I'm not in any like direct contact with him anyway, so it's not like I would have conversations with him.
Is there any connection between you two, as there would have been between you and Yaga? And he'll point to the tattoo when you were still alive.
I can't really speak for the connections that Yaga may have had when she was living, but I would assume that it had nothing to do with Magrius or
No, I
Nabulu.
mean, does Magrius have a current connection with you the way you used to have with her?
No, no.
Because that would allow him to find you and such. But if
Not
he
that
has,
she knows of.
yes, but that's what I'm saying. If she has no connection, and or even if it's a possibility that she doesn't, we could burn this entire temple down with all the mushrooms and corpses in it. As far as anyone knows, she has been destroyed.
I'm fine with that. And
That
then
is, you need to
Petrick,
also, Petra needs to also understand that there is a very legitimate chance that Magrius will be able to find her.
I suppose I would take my chances with that.
I appreciate the information she's given us. I think it's been helpful, and I'm not the best judge of character, but I don't think she's been lying to us. So I would be of the opinion, go find others like you, perhaps other witches or wizards or druids in the forest, and live out your afterlife.
I would agree.
Assuming that you are not found and dealt with by your creator, I would certainly be interested to know of your future endeavors.
Well, I don't.
Perhaps your current state could be a solution to the problems I seek to deal with currently.
Can I look at
So,
Kramis and just kind of try to take in what he's thinking or feeling? Because he hasn't said anything.
I
Yeah, I
mean, you
mean,
can certainly try.
Bad.
stone-faced dwarf.
Yeah. Well, then, since that didn't work, I'll just say Kramis. Do you have any opinion on this?
I'll hold my opinion for now. I'm still trying to assess how the three of you can help the matron.
I would be curious how you believe your matron would feel about this. Her opinion is one of few that I hold relevant on such topics.
That's a discussion for another time.
So, Petra, do we have your word that you will be no longer helping Magrius in his attempts to control the living?
Yes, I will leave this place and not look back.
Do you happen to know where Magrius might be?
As I mentioned, unfortunately, I've never, well, I don't say unfortunately, I've never spoken with him directly. All I've been doing is handing my research to the cultists, and they do whatever they do to contact him. I don't know.
That's fine. I was just curious, and it doesn't seem like he's one we will have to eliminate before going after Nerul regardless.
I think that might be a little naive. Pardon me, I don't mean to be rude, but even if Magrius is working against Nerul in some way, Nerul is everyone he everyone in his domain is a tool of his. So long as Magrius exists, he strengthens Nerul.
While I don't disagree with that point, we must also keep in mind that the dead strengthen him just as much. Killing Agrius may, if anything, make him of more use to his father.
Well, it would have to be something. Um, and she kind of sighs a little bit, but she's like, from what I've seen in the afterlife, the best way to keep someone from serving the rule would be to obviously one keep them alive, but more than anything, you would have to banish them to a place that the rule can't reach them.
Perhaps the Hells, then.
Just conceivably, someplace either where someone just as powerful is in control. So I suppose the Hells could work, or a domain of one of the gods, or like uh, Pandemonium, someplace out in the far reaches of the plains where Narul couldn't reach them. Not that that is necessarily a pleasant thing for anyone that would end up in those places, but neither is serving the rule.
Well, I believe we, well, we need to get going. We need to get Signe help, and we need to start destroying these mushrooms and the corpses.
Agreed.
Okay. Thank you for all your information, Petra.
One final question, Petra. Do you know who else would have been here at this facility? There are passages we have yet to explore, though they mostly seem... They seem likely to be abandoned, but I would hate to walk into an ambush.
I don't really know where you've been in this place, but it's not a particularly large place.
Have you ever been past the balcony where it's overgrown?
Yeah, the door right there. So the door, so I points to the door behind you. It's the balcony actually goes out there, and then it's just the other side.
Okay,
That's where you would have gone had you gone around the thing.
gotcha. All right. Well, that was the only place I remember that we couldn't pass through. So,
And yeah, as not as Petra, but as the DM, you have seen everything.
okay. All right. Well, one last thought, Petra. If there's anything of yours you would like to leave here that would make it look like you were destroyed, that might be a bit of an idea.
Sorry, I just zoomed out and saw that Signe was pushing daisies down there.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. So what did you say?
I asked her if she wanted to leave something of hers that would make it look like she was also destroyed here.
Well, all I really have is my staff, which is actually a very nice staff, but she'll leave it.
That way, if they do send anyone to search, it'll look like you were killed. All right, so everyone is okay with this?
Yes.
And I mainly focus on Kramis.
I have no issues with it. Callum, you seem to be more hell-bent on destruction.
Ragnar and Griswold have certainly swayed my opinion on the matter for the moment. Though I do retain any right, of course, to change it in the future, I am happy to admit when I have been wrong about something.
Ragnar gives you a small smile.
Well, then to.
But make no mistake, if he was a 5th level, or I don't remember, could cast 5th level cleric spells, he'd be casting Destroy Undead.
Mhm.
No, I'd be casting, like, Revivify and see what happens.
Oh, right. Yeah, that would be good. Reincarnate is a cool spell that no one ever uses, the druid, because it like actually brings you back, but puts you in a different body, which is interesting.
I mean,
Imagine she comes back in like a 90-year-old man. She's
Right.
just fucking small and weak.
hey, my previous character would have casted it if it was his option.
I throw my dentures at people.
All right, well, let's go gather Signe and Callum. You could move ahead and try to make it back to us in as fast as
Yes,
possible.
very much so. And Callum, since he has a rough idea of that, okay, we've seen everything, he's immediately booking it.
And as
Well,
we're
And
walking
heading,
out, I'll wait for Petra to like start moving too, and I'll just ask her as we're walking. I'll say, "Do you have any knowledge about what the summoning was taking place? There was a vision of a demon of some type."
I unfortunately haven't really left this room very much.
Mhm. Are you or were you a powerful witch in your time? Do you think
Um,
there would be anything you could maybe learn from it to give us information?
I, I regret to say I'm not the most advanced spellcaster.
Hmm, fair enough. I thought it would be
And
worth
she's
asking.
like, about the best I can do is this, and she casts fly. So she's a 3rd level spellcaster. That's as high as she goes.
Okay.
It kind of raises up off the floor a little bit.
All right. Then yeah, I will just head back out. Um, I, as we're walking again, I'll ask Petra, like, so you said you're not familiar with the area? Where were you from in your life?
I think they call it Wildmount now.
Right. Well, just so you know, the to the south is dangerous as of this time. They were overthrown by a different type of cult, dragon cult, and there is 2 dragons that tend to fly around. Um, to the north of where we are now, there are a good amount of forests. You may find some druids or perhaps maybe a head mage or head witch there that might be of help to you. But I would suggest not going south, at least at this point.
She just nods.
Ragna grabs Signe and heads out.
Chroma starts burning shit.
All right. Move everybody back to this totally zoomed in map because Roll20 can never remember where you were. So how much gold does everybody have?
0. I gave it all to him.
Well, but I mean, how much does he have as the? I don't know if
I
we
think I
lost.
gave him 10 and Ragna gave him 9.
Yeah, we lost Callum again. I can see you lighting
Yeah,
up.
I'm here. I'm here. I was just trying to pull up my character sheet to see how much I have.
Well, if you did have 0 before, it would be 19 now.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I did have 0. Yeah, I did have 0 before, so I have 19 now.
And Chromus gave diddly squat.
He doesn't know her.
Oh no, these are other expenses.
Ragna will, if as long as everyone else is following, besides Callum, who's got ahead, hurry towards Blackhold.
And Sam, I would just say from what you're PMing me there, unless you were a specific follower of them, I would say right now, for Signe, she is probably, I guess she has an atheist death. She is in total blackness. Just she doesn't exist anymore as far as that goes. Her soul has not gone anywhere yet. So that would, unless she has a specific, basically you would. The longer that they take to get there, the more likely you are to end up in Narul's domain. You're kind of in limbo at this point. So, Callum's running ahead. The rest of you, if you're just following behind, have. If you're hurrying as well, if you're going at a faster pace, which just means you can't stealth or anything like that, it'll take you about a day to get to Blackhold.
I just realized Ragna can cast Find Steed and just ride a horse. Probably catch up / potentially surpass Callum.
I am faster than a horse.
You're faster than a horse. I did not realize that.
Technically, I'm as fast as a horse, but I can also bonus action dash several times.
Well, just logically speaking, or for flavor, Ragna will cast Find Steed to be able to carry Signe easily quicker.
Sure. So, as you're traveling, you would have a little bit of time for like, here'd be the time for Griswold to check that book, and then check the spell
Yep.
book, and then anything else the rest of you would want to do as you have that day's travel.
Ragna would just be quiet.
So, then real quick, Griswold, I think you have a fair number of these. I don't know how. So if you just want to mark this down somewhere on your character sheet.
Yeah, I'll add it into another. Yep.
So there are 3 cantrips: Mage Hand, Prestidigitation, and Ray of Frost.
Yeah.
Level 1 spells, there's Detect Magic, which you don't need. Magic Missile, Shield, and Thunder Wave. There are 3 level 2 spells: Detect Thoughts, Invisibility, and Mirror Image.
Okay.
And then for now we start getting to the juicy stuff. So level 3 spells: Animate Dead, The One I Will Regret, Counterspell,
Mm-hmm.
Dispel Magic, and Fireball.
Yep.
Level 4 spells are Blight and Dimension Door.
Yes. Although it would take me forever to get to be a level 4 spellcaster, if I even could. Yeah, I could.
7 levels of wizard.
Yeah. So level 5 spells are Scrying and Cloud Kill.
Yep.
Level 6 spells are Disintegrate and Globe of Invulnerability.
Well, all right.
That one's not as good as it sounds.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think that was kind of
Disappointing.
funny.
I don't think I've ever seen that spell cast anywhere. Level 7 spells, Finger of Death and Plane Shift. Level
Right.
8 spells, Dominate Monster and Power Word Stun.
Yep.
And then finally, level 9, Power Word Kill.
All right.
Which, much to Signe's disappointment, will leave no lasting damage, no battle scars for Power Word Kill. He just says a word and she dies.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel my disappointment from the afterlife.
But yes, as far as your reasoning is concerned, I mean, you can make that happen. You can make that as your, because they'll likely find a way to bring you back, Signe. So yes, what you whispered me is acceptable.
Yay, thank you.
He also has a couple of he gets to cast Ray of Frost and Melf's Acid Arrow, as well as Paralyzing Touch, just as actions. Plus his legendary actions and legendary resistances, and that's funny though. What's great about, I mean, liches are crazy powerful, but the vanilla version of them have virtually no hit points in the grand scheme of things. So I mean, somebody that's level 9 spellcaster that only has like 135 hit points. It's like Signe and Ragna together could probably do that in a single turn. With Snickersnack and a barbarian raging, like, you could probably do 135 damage easy. So, obviously, Callum will get there first. So, upon arriving in Blackhold, you can see that it looks like it's not as doesn't look like it's been affected quite as much as like Mage Shear and obviously Shorecombe being a ghost town. But you get the, upon entering, you sort of get the impression that Blackhold is also not in its greatest state that it's ever been in. There are still a bunch of people in the town itself. Everything seems to be up and running, but everybody looks a little bit weary. You can see that it looks like there has been some damage to the town. As you're walking through the streets trying to find the temple, you can see that there are what appear to be a few abandoned buildings that are like the windows are boarded up and everything. So there have been, you've never been to Blackhole, most likely. I don't know. I don't really know exactly how much.
No, probably not.
So you don't really know how much of this is recent, but you do see that some of the boarded up buildings do look recent because the wood on the windows is relatively new wood. It's not old and weathered. Um, you more than anything, you kind of get the impression that everybody here is just trying to keep to themselves. Like you don't see anybody, you know, looking up and smiling as people are walking around. Everybody kind of has their head down and they're going about their business. Um, the the main thoroughfare, as you're walking, you notice that it likely has some uh the main thoroughfare likely has a paved walkway, but it's like as you're stepping in it, you can see that it looks like it's all mud, but as you're stepping on it, you kind of feel the solid uh, road essentially beneath your feet, and you can see that there's obviously not been a lot of upkeep in this area where you know they're not. I guess they don't have a lot of civic pride. I guess we'll say so. The the place looks a little bit run down, but not necessarily because of recent events, but more that there's just never been a priority for these people. Blackhold is kind of a trading um, village based on its trajectory on the road, but most of um, the commerce is actually from farming in the fields to the south of Blackhold. Um, you can see remnants of it being in its heyday was probably a bit of a grander town, and you kind of again this is just quickly you registering as you don't know the history of it, but you can see some of the buildings that are made of stone and much older, and you can see in the distance a very large temple of Ayun. You get the idea that this probably wasn't always a farming village, but it's kind of what it's become, kind of left by the wayside over the centuries.
Hmm. I mean, no time to waste. He's going straight for that temple and trying to find someone.
Yeah, going up to it, you can see that it's actually it's a pretty impressive structure. And what probably surprises you a little bit about it is that we'll do a religion check real quick.
Absolutely. Religion. There you are.
Um, it doesn't look like to you that this maybe was originally a temple of Ayun. The building itself, it's made of very very dark stone, and so it looks somewhat intimidating. I won't say sinister, but it looks a little bit intimidating. It doesn't really strike you as a good representation of what Ayun herself represents. So you kind of get the idea that maybe this was originally kind of a garrison or a fortress of some kind that was eventually just converted into a temple. You can see that there are sort of what look more like what you would recognize as temple spires that have been built up a little bit around the sides, but the main building itself doesn't look like it was originally built for this purpose. Um,
Yeah.
and you can see that outside, like the rest of the city. It's not really a city, more of a large village. Um, it's also kind of been neglected. There's mud up on the walls. It's not a particularly inviting place, but the doors do appear to be open.
Going right in and hurrying in, like not mincing words at all. If there's anyone looks like they're around, it's just needed a healer who can travel for us and quickly.
The only person that you spot is actually a really really old looking man who you when you start running in he's sort of sitting on a bench in front of a large statue. So like when you first enter in, there's a bit of a uh, it's kind of a domed room as you first enter in, and there is a large statue of Ayun in the center of it, and there are benches that are all around it, and there's an old man who's actually facing the door rather than facing the statue itself, and he was kind of slumped over looking like he was asleep, and as you come in and say that, he startles awake. He's like, "Oh, what's all the commotion?"
We have someone who is very badly injured and on their way here. but we need to meet them on the way. I'm not sure they'll make it all the way here.
Oh, what's wrong with them?
We were attacked while we were clearing out the old Temple of Ioun to the south of here by the undead there.
Oh, well, that's quite a bother, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. Would you be able to come with us? My companions are traveling and doing their best to get her along to here, but obviously it's been a far travel, and I went ahead to see if we could get someone to meet them part way.
Oh, well, I'll be happy to help. I'm not quite as nimble as I used to be, and you can see that he's getting up, and he just watching him. It looks painful as he's not painful like it looks like it's physically painful for him. It's painful for you to watch him because he's moving so slow. But he's like sort of, his arms are a little shaking a little bit as he's like, using them to try and stand up, and kind of slowly stretches his back out to try to stand up straight, which he doesn't quite do.
Mm.
But you can see looking around, I mean, like they're most of the temple itself, like you can see that there are a few obviously there are doors that go off to different places, but most of the temple is just dark because there's nobody else in here. This is the only person that you can see. In fact, like when you came in and started yelling, I mean, like your voice was echoing because this guy just seemed to be all there is. At least he's the only person you see for sure.
Yeah, Callum's definitely looks a bit disappointed by this, but it's right. Perhaps I can help you get there more quickly if you don't mind. Bit of a ride.
Well, if you have a way to go quicker, I'm certainly ready for the speed. And he kind of like jumps up a little bit.
I like this guy now. All right. Here, climb on my back, and I'll hold you, and we'll get there quicker. You may. I hate to say this, but in case the worst has happened, you don't happen to have components for revivify or erase dead or anything like that.
Oh well, uh, there are some in the back room, possibly. Depends on, I suppose, what type of magic you need.
Just bring what you can. It wouldn't be any more than a raised dead because it was less than a day ago that I left.
Oh well, just a moment, and he starts
Yes, one
walking
of
up.
our companions there will be able to compensate you for it. They gave me a very small amount of they could manage in the meantime.
He's got his back to you now. He's walking away. He just kind of like raises his hand, like okay.
Okay.
And
We'll wait for him to go get the stuff, but then
you can hear him like rattling through, opening up drawers and things like that, and it probably takes him about 5-10 minutes to get what he needs, and he kind of triumphantly raises a little like leather bag and at you like, oh, we're ready to go.
thank you so much, Father. Now, as I said, if you feel free to climb on, and I will take you there myself.
Yeah,
Eh,
so I didn't really describe him, but this guy he is a human. He's basically entirely bald, and you get the impression this is just because all of his hair has fallen out. And you would wager that this guy has to be in his 90s. Like he is old.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna wait for him to climb on, and just to be on the safe side, because I have points for it, so why not? While I'm helping him on, I'm gonna give him a little hand of healing for diseases and
Okay.
health and stuff. Just old people. I want to make sure he lives till he gets there, and then, but then yes, absolutely, just gonna start booking it as fast as I can, which I know is pretty slow with him on, but is still like normal person speed.
Yeah, I mean, so his hand of healing, does that cure like arthritis and gout? Because that's probably what he's got.
Good question. It says it cures one disease.
I don't know what
I would
arthritis is
assume they mean
actually
like
considered.
I was gonna say I would mean like an infectious disease.
Right.
but that's just me.
Anyway, it's not really a big problem. But yeah, I mean, lifting him up, the guy probably weighs, 100 pounds. Is very, very. He's not You get the impression that he was probably never tall, but he's shrunken a little bit as well. But yeah, he's very skinny, and as he kind of like wraps his arms around you, I mean, you can tell that he's basically just skin and bones at this point. But he's got a good
Yeah, and
attitude.
Callum is going. Yeah, Callum's going to do his best to keep him on there, but he's just going because he can manage. I carry capacity, but I'm also sure it's grappling a living creature kind of thing. So
So yeah, you are able to make it,
Mhm.
and I would say you probably catch up to uh, Ragna just outside of the town, since she was running on a steed. So
So once we get to Ragna, it's oh, thank goodness. All right, this will be faster then. Kind sir, this what I'm sure will be faster than I am at transporting us.
uh, well, if you're in a hurry, we can. It'll take me about an hour, but we can do this here. I don't need to go to the temple. It might also be not a great idea uh, to take this person through the
Oh,
town.
that's right. I am very confused. I'm sorry. Ragna has Signe on the
Right.
horse.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Then, all right. Yes. Yes. This is our friend here. I'm sorry. Our other companion with the funds is not yet arrived. They must have come on foot. Yes, with only the one horse.
Yes, yeah, this is just one that I've been able to conjure. And Ragnar will get off the horse and gently get Signe down as well.
You can see that his
Right.
eyes kind of big, and it's like, oh, she's big. Talking about Signe.
Just, yes, it's quite the impressive horse. Now, on the a more. I'm sorry. I'm just. Please, if you can do what you can for her.
Oh yeah, let's go off the road a little bit so that we're not in the mud here.
Of course.
And yeah, it will take him an hour to cast. And Signe will take a -4 penalty to all of her rolls, and she needs to take at least 4 long rests to get rid of it.
But he doesn't use any diamonds.
Yeah, that maybe is something that would like sort of surprise him in the idea that he brought the component to do so and then didn't. So basically, it would be as he's casting the spell. The expectation is that the spell would consume the diamond, but then in this case wouldn't. But this is actually good for her because this spell in particular uh, doesn't restore any missing body parts. So she was just killed by a word, and she wasn't beheaded or anything. So this spell wouldn't work if that was the case.
She now can't say pickles.
Yes. Although this has to feel a little bit rough for Callum, because it's like, yes, you are, this is necromancy. I mean, this raised dead is a.
Oh no, no, no. See,
I mean, it's still taking her away from Nerul, but
exactly. All the other undead he doesn't like because he's like, oh, these things work for the god of death. He gives no shits about them being undead.
yeah, it's just if the creature body parts or organs integral for its survival, its head, for instance, the spell automatically fails. So she wasn't disemboweled either, so that's good.
Yay! When Signe is brought back, Ragnar will just be hugging and sobbing.
Say everybody else probably, we'll just say for the sake of convenience and everything, that the other guys would arrive whilst the spell was being cast. They probably couldn't actually move that fast compared to the horse and everything, but I don't know. That's just
Not even close.
let's assume they were running. The dwarf was running full speed.
They are natural sprinters.
Yes. Very dangerous over short distances.
There we go.
But yeah, I mean, we'll condense the time a little bit. So I mean, by the time you get there, we'll say that the spell is over. But obviously, it's not like Signe just pops up and is like, oh, again, -4 to everything. She needs a long rest 4 times, and it actually, according to the description, it's not. Yeah, so you lose 1 every time you rest. So after 1 long rest, you're down to -3, and then -2, and then -1, and then they're gone. So.
Then when we all catch up and stuff, actually on the way there, I'm gonna try to pry more to Kramis about how he feels about our choice behind, or what we just left. See if he'll tell me anything.
Well, ask away.
So you said it wasn't the right time before. Figure you have a bit of a walk ahead of us. How do you think we handled the situation with Petra?
Well, let me ask you a question as well. What do you believe my stance on the undead is?
You said that the matron is working against Nerul, yes?
Correct.
Specifically him. So I assume it would be somewhat similar to Callum's, where if you can take power away from Nerul, it would be a good thing. Taking an undead away that does not serve him would do no harm to him. So I assume you may be a bit indifferent.
The matron seeks to take away his primary domain of death.
Are undead outside of that domain, in your opinion?
Yes and no. Yes, because they fall under a different category. No, because they so pervert the natural course. But she's also looking for, as I stated, magics, artifacts, allies in that fight against the rule. And that is our current purpose, I am not one to turn down any assistance.
So you agree that even if it is just a minor inconvenience for Nerul, having Magrius work against him or perhaps gather some of his attention would be a good thing.
Even if it's as slight as Magrius doesn't assist Nerul as much as he could, that is still better than no assistance at all.
I think me and you have a rather similar way of thinking in that sense.
It's possible. While I'm, yes, here to render assistance to your group, I still have to assess whether your interest aligns with the matrons. While none of you may appreciate that fact, I am here on her behalf.
I can understand that. I I have others that I also would like to damage and do damage to. You've heard a bit about my past with the Hells, but right now it seems as if Nerul is the main target for most of the people I care for.
I would say from my observations, Ragnar seems a little too trusting, while Callum seems a little overly focused? Has he given you a reason for that?
Oh, the main thing that I've known of Callum, one is that he does mean what he says. He told me that he would be there with me in the Hells if I ever needed him there. He was. He's been with us ever since we've met him. But outside of what he's done with us, we don't really know much of him aside from he his family was from or he spent time in the past with druids in the Rethalor Forest, and that he vehemently is against Nerul.
And he's giving you no particular reasoning behind that?
You know, I never really thought very much into it. It seems rather decent of any person to be against a god who is trying to use undead for his workings of terror. So I just assumed he had a reason.
True. But look at the matron I serve. She seeks to usurp. What is his purpose?
Well, that is a question you have to ask him. I've never thought of it in that way. He never questioned why I wanted revenge on devils that held me captive. I've done the same with him. It's not a worry. It's not like he's asking to harm a benevolent individual. So if it's someone who does harm and evil, I don't really have much of a problem just helping no matter what the reason is.
Well, while I wouldn't mind knowing the answer, he may be more forthcoming with it to someone he's travelled with for much longer. As you can tell by his and at least Signy's responses, they clearly have a trust issue with me being here.
Mm, I haven't known you long. They've, to be fair, Signe did just get out of being a prisoner in the Hells for months. So I can understand her distrust. But I've always been of the opinion, it's something I was taught from a young age, that you trust people until they give you a reason not to trust them anymore. So I still trust you at this point. I'm sure the others will come to as well, unless you don't deserve the trust.
Very well, but if it comes down to it, if I have to choose the matron's objectives over yours, that is what I'm sworn to do. I have not hidden this fact since our first meeting.
Agreed. And if it does come, I just hope it is something more along the lines of parting ways than actually coming head to head. I don't see us coming head to head, honestly. The matron, I don't think we would be opposed to her at all. It is two of my companions' sister, although she has changed.
True, she has no ill will towards any of you, so I do not assume it will ever come to that. But time will tell.
Agreed. Well, and just to put it out there, I think you and Callum do have a bit in common with your long-term goals, at least. So whether or not he is the welcoming or completely trustworthy, I do think it's worth you knowing that you two do seem to be working towards the same goal.
There's a strong likelihood of that, but for the time being, I will continue to watch and assess how your group proceeds and try to guide you along the path that helps the matron. Whether you follow that path is a different matter.
Well, just don't hold back when it comes to if you have any questions or grievances. It's better to ask reasoning than just assume.
Oh, I'm not going to assume that. Like I said, I'm primarily just observing for now, so I can form opinions of how to move forward.
Fair enough.
Oh, considering you can probably run faster than myself, would you like to go ahead?
Um, those things beat the shit out of me in there, so I don't mind walking. Bit tired and beaten up.
Yes, that one undead did try to get his payback and took a toll.
As well as the first one, the big one with the sword and shield. He hit rather hard.
Still, you should be proud of your endeavours. You did face some relatively high-ranking undead, and apart from the one passing, of course, put in a strong showing.
Well, I'm learning still, but there's always more to learn, and hopefully the next time will be even better.
We can only hope, as he continues on.
Hmm.
Alrighty. So, um, you guys meet up. Signe is back for better or worse. Probably a little bit for worse at the moment. So, what is the plan? Do you want to stay in Black Hole to rest and recuperate, or do you want to stay outside of the city? Do you want to try and go somewhere
100%
else?
my suggestion would be staying for until Signe recovers.
What does everybody else think?
Same as Griswold, staying and relaxing.
Given that we have no actual leads, Callum's cool with that. Better to be at our best if we don't know what we're going to be facing and there's no urgency beyond the usual urgency.
Uh, Griswold would do his normal of looking around the village or town and seeing if there's any sort of thieves guild markings or anything like that to see if he could gather information. But other than that, it would really just be a relaxing few days. Trying to talk to people at the tavern and gather information about, oh, what's going on in any of the areas we're thinking about. What's happening in Vasselheim? Is there any news from, Tranta or anything like that?
You would find in the rumors, there wouldn't be any thieves guild or a thieves cant or anything like that, but you would find a lot of the same. The big news, um, and you would find this from the same uh, the so the cleric of Ioun that helped you guys out. His name is Leopold, um, and he is actually, you find, the only person in that giant building. So he was very excited to just have something to do. So he didn't charge you, even just like, obviously he didn't, the diamond wasn't done, but he didn't ask for anything in return. He was just very excited to be able to be helpful and to do something, um, aside from sitting in the temple by himself. So the rumors that you hear are very similar. You don't hear anything about Tranta, but you do hear once again, even from Leopold himself, because he had likely received the missive as well, is that Vasselheim is basically the call to arms. Everybody, able-bodied, clerics and paladins are
Mhm.
requested to return to Vasselheim, which he ignored because jokingly he considered himself not able-bodied.
Fair enough.
Well, thanks for
So,
not going, Leopold. I appreciate it.
well, I'm happy to be of service.
Certainly, your decision to stay behind has done a great good, and so we must be grateful as well. By all means, while our friend rests, I would be happy to offer any aid I can here. Though I am not a devout of any particular gods, I'm happy to do what I can with those who come seeking aid, or even simply maintaining the facilities.
Well, the people around here don't care much. Ayun is. I don't mean to be, flippant or rude to the people who live here, but farmers don't tend to worship Ayun. Goddess of knowledge doesn't really offer much interest to these folks. So some of the grounds have certainly been neglected, as I don't really have the ability to keep up with it all. This place is much larger than one person can handle.
Well, by all means, we have, by your own expertise, several days to wait here before our friend is in proper traveling condition. I'd be happy to do what I can in that time.
Oh, well, any help is appreciated, and mainly he would just ask you to sort of pull weeds and clean the walls on the outside so the place looks a little bit more presentable.
Mm-hmm. And Callum will do so very diligently. Although he will also, anytime he's not doing that, be doing his usual shtick of okay, let's go wander through town and find six sick people and fix them.
And there's certainly some of that, some people that are a bit injured and run down from working on the farms and stuff like that. There is only one current um, inn that would be open. So it's the Blue Eagle Tavern is where you would be staying. It is has a small set of rooms as well, and you all would be the only people that would be staying there at the time. There would be patrons that would come in to the bar, but there wouldn't be any other travelers that would actually be staying there with you. Um, it's probably only 3 silver per person to stay there for the 4 days. It's not a particularly nice place. And I think actually, if you're going by straight D&D rules, um, that's actually somewhat appropriate because the economy always gets out of whack when you got 7,000 gold, and oh, I'll just give you 50 gold to stay at this inn. It's it costs 2 copper to get something to eat, like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, so I'm going to say, hey, towards the end of the stay, where Signia is starting to feel a little bit better, I'm going to set a scene here for you guys. So, and then we'll end it. But we'll say that you all are in the tavern area, in the evening. You would be the only ones there. You probably just relaxing, chatting, that type of stuff. Maybe playing a game of cards or whatever. And you see the barkeep, um, and this isn't unusual. He just kind of waves to you all, closing down the bar. Essentially, you guys can stay down here because you're staying in the tavern itself as you know patrons of it. And he sort of just tells you to have a good night, goes off into the side room where he obviously has his room, and for about 10-15 minutes after that, you're just still doing the same thing, and you sort of get this sense of uh, unease, and through the door walks a figure dressed in all black, long black hair streaking behind her. You can see this is obviously a woman. Um, very intricate. Those of you that I believe it would be Callum and uh, Ragna. you would both recognize this person from the visions that you had in the Feywild of what you believe to be essentially at the time a future version of Rhea, and she's wearing a mask, a sort of just a porcelain white mask, and in her hand you can see she is holding the head of Petra, and as she walks in she just throws it on the table. And that's where we'll end the session.